Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everyone. Welcome. Before we start our regular meeting, we are going to do we're going to do three special recognitions. First one is for Dominic Franco and Jim Dollins. I saw Jim. Did I see Dom? Is Dom here? No. There's Dom. Gentlemen, could you come up to the podium?
Yeah.
Hi, Dom.
How you doing?
It's good to see you. Here comes Jim. So both of these gentlemen are volunteers to our community. And you're going to hear the numbers in a moment that are darn impressive. They were both recognized at a recent Harbor Commission meeting. If you look behind you, the harbor master is here, the assistant harbor master. There are board members, advisory board members here, full members here, all to recognize these gentlemen, and obviously this council and the town and all of you. I'm going to start with Jim. Jim Dollins was on, and he just retired from the Harbor Commission for 22 years. So 22 years he's been giving back to his community, not only for this, but specifically for this. So that's 22 years of looking at what's going on with the harbor, coming back to the council and the town with suggestions, dealing with management of it along with the harbor master. So Jim is an avid sailor. I've known Jim for quite a long time. Anybody who knows Jim, he's an avid sailor, but very knowledgeable about the waterfront and a very pragmatic mind. 22 years. And the only thing that makes 22 years look like a short time is when you look at Dom Franco, he was on the board for 44 years. Doesn't that stink, Jim? It's like I won one Super Bowl, but he won 4 Super Bowls, right? So Dom has been the chairman. Dom, how long were you the chairman?
About 30 years.
See, that's impressive. I've got 12, I think. So good for you. So Dom has been on the Harbor Commission, all the same things, 44 years. Think about how much has changed over the last 10 years. Never mind the docks being built. I've heard stories of Kenny Marshall, used to be on the council, passed away a few years ago, building some of those docks along with multiple people. This council, we say it every single time. We so appreciate the volunteerism of this town, and both of you gentlemen, and 22 years and 44 years of giving back to the community is just an absolute impressive feat. And I have a citation for both of you, but first, a round of applause for both of you. Well, let's stand for that. Did you want to say a couple of words?
Just want to say thank you. And I appreciate working with all of the departments in the town. And we've worked with all of them and we got along fine. I just want to thank them, and that's all I can say.
A man of great words and few words. Jim?
I agree with that 100%. And the other thing I agree with is the great teamwork that we have at the Harbor Commission, had at the Harbor Commission the whole time we were there. Everybody pitched in and contributed to it. So it's really wonderful, guys, working with that team.
Both of you gentlemen, come on up. Can you both come up so I can give you these citations? Come on up. Council, did you want to share anything?
Just briefly, oops, yes, I mean, 66 years, that's a lot of time, and certainly is appreciated. And with all the backing that we have here, all the volunteers, thank you for what you do for the town of Bristol, all of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for everything you've done. Fantastic job. Both of you guys have done fantastic.
Great.
I know.
Thanks, Karen.
Thank you. Good luck to you guys.
One more round of applause for these fine gentlemen.
Jim and Tom, I just want to say that your commitment, your wisdom, your countless contributions have left an indelible mark on the community. The Bristol Harbor is better off because of you, and we are forever grateful. So thank you so much. We really appreciate it.
Could I just also just say thank you to both of those gentlemen and to all the volunteers on the Harbor Commission and all of our boards. And Dom's been on there for 44 years. He had to be here when we mentioned Kenny Marshall. One of the highlights was to see Kenny and Halsey debating how to build a dock. That was a real highlight. So anyway, thank you guys very much.
Nice job. So we're going to add an additional recognition this evening. If I could, actually, Tony, could you make that motion? Because I know you wanted to add one too.
Yes, if I may, I would like to add two recognitions for this evening.
So the Mount Hope Huskies was one.
Yes, and the passing of the elder in Bristol, Genevieve Marslick.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so on that third recognition, we have the Mount Hope Huskies boys basketball team. We've got thank you. We've Coach Grifka. If you could come up to the podium and just kind of start us off here. So Coach Grifka and I saw each other at the all band and chorus concert for the Bristol Warren Regional School District. And I pulled him aside and I said, would you be interested in coming to a council meeting so we could recognize your efforts and the team's efforts and the coach's efforts? And I haven't known you that long, but long enough to know that you went, well, I don't, and then, okay. I think it's outstanding. Could you walk us through how you got there and recognize everyone that's here tonight?
Sure. The season started and right around the beginning of December. It was a great season. We ended up finishing up with right around 27 games collectively with non-league games. We were fortunate enough to bring home the state championship, as was mentioned. Our league's record was about 10-1. We had a 14-4 interleague record playing all divisions. Things changed for the league this year. They gave teams the opportunity to play any team that they want, D1, D2, and D3. And depending on where you play, decides on how many points you get. So it's kind of a strategic way now that the league is doing it to kind of eliminate some, strife and stuff with certain teams, feeling that they've been slotted in the wrong division and whatnot. So we played up in a number of games. We were fortunate to pull out a few games in D2, none in D1. We only played one D1 team, but actually two D1 teams. We ended up playing in the play-in, which was all 16 teams. We were selected as the 16th team into the state tournament at the end of the season this year, which was quite an honor. But when you pull LaSalle, who didn't lose a game this year, it's an unfortunate feat, but it was fun playing against them. Just to give you an idea, as far as overall record, we're about 17-5. We do have some recognitions of some players. We had 2 all-league selections. Second team was Lucas Andriozzi. Can give him a round of applause. Our third team selection was Malik Roderick. Awesome. We also had 2 were chosen to be in all division, and that's both Lucas Andriozzi and Malik Roderick again. So. And then we had 2 that were chosen to be the second team, and that's Matthew McDougall and Jack Thompson. As far as actually, could I have the players come up here?
I was just going to ask you to do that. So
All right. I'd like to have the players up.
right up here,
Come on up.
when you come up, face the audience if you would, so they can see you. I would say tall players in the back, but just,
I just want to recognize these guys, and I'm going to be honest. day in and day out, they come into practice every single day, and they put a lot of time and effort in. But at the end of the day, it's a lot of fun for me. It's probably more fun for me than them because they have to work a little bit harder. But I really enjoy working with these kids and kind of trying to build them to understand and respect basketball. But at the end of the day, we've been fortunate because players like this that come and put the time in has given us the opportunity to be very vibrant over the last 7 years. We've been able to bring home 3 championships in 7 years. So that's pretty awesome.
Coach, could you recognize your other coaches
Yes,
also?
I was actually just going to call them up.
Thank you.
Assistant coach Tim Thorpe, come on up. Without Tim, well, actually, I'll say Tim, he brought his JV team to the championship as well. So they were able to bring the championship at the JV level. So it shows a lot of prominence for a lot of the kids coming up to our varsity program. So give them a round of applause. Tommy Fullen right here. He's like my right-hand man. He does my book. He also gives me advice. He's got like, I don't know, what, 70 years of basketball knowledge? 62. And I got Mike Dalmage, who's just kind of like my right-hand man. He's my assistant coach. Come on up here. All right. And because of these 3 coaches, and also well, there's one that's not here tonight, Matt Karadimos, they've been with me for 7 years, and they're a lot of credit to what we've been able to do over the course of those 7 years. All right, I call it 6 years because the COVID year really wasn't a year, but 7 years is what it is. But it's been a great season. Thank you so much for the recognition.
Well deserved.
This is the first time we've been recognized in the town council, and I hope there's more future opportunities to come in here and be acknowledging some of these kids and some of the coaches that are here. So.
Yes.
Council, I'll start with you first. Anything you wanted to share before?
No, just congratulations. Great job, guys.
Congrats.
Good job, guys.
Congrats.
Yeah,
Congrats.
excellent. We look forward to seeing you next year, same place, same time, celebrating. Nice job.
Unless, of course, you're a senior.
Yes.
Thank you.
Coach Griffin, if you could come up, I would love to give you this citation.
Got a call.
Moms and dads and just an outstanding job. Obviously, the coaches made a big part of it, but without you, without moms and dads bringing them there, without what you've taught them to be the good citizens that they are, they wouldn't have been there. So outstanding job to all of you. Coach Grifka said he wished that we could support and celebrate more success. At our next council meeting, I think we're going to have another team from the high school who had an undefeated year. So
Excellent.
we'll just leave it like that and we'll talk about it when it comes around, right? So outstanding job and thank you.
That's awesome.
Fantastic.
Tony, did you want to,
Always nice to celebrate.
Just-
or do you want to wait till the end? It's your
Yeah,
call.
I could just make it very briefly.
Please do.
Yes, as you may be aware of, I mean, it's been in the news and the elder lady in town, the matriarch, Genevieve Marslick, who turned 111 years old, February 27th, I believe it was. Unfortunately passed away Sunday morning, but it was in a non-painful way. They found her asleep internally, so obviously we'll miss her. She was quite a feature, in town, especially when she went to the Bristol House Pizza. They actually have dedicated a corner in the restaurant to her.
very nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
So it'll be nice, in quiet memory. So for all, we wish the family, our condolences, and certainly our prayers and love is with the family.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the first item of business is the vote on the provisional budget fiscal year 2025-2026. And you have your proposed budget in the yellow card.
What motion do you need, Madam Clerk?
So the motion would be to adopt the 2025-2026 provisional budget as follows. Schedule A in the amount of $64,326,511. The Schedule B in the amount of $742,000, which is included in the Schedule A. And Schedule C in the amount of $7,239,987, totaling $71,566,498. Also to advertise in the local paper and forward the same for the public hearing to be held on April 14th.
So
I'm-
moved.
Second.
There's a motion and it's motion made by
Melissa.
Mary, seconded by Tony. Any discussion?
Just want to thank, oh,
Please.
sorry, go ahead. I just want to thank the chairman, the administration, and all the department heads and my colleagues for all the hard work that you guys put into this budget. You looked at every line item, and you really put the taxpayer first. And so I just want to say, me personally, I really appreciate all your efforts in keeping this town moving forward. So thank you.
Side. I'll also add, as we typically do, we have 3 days of budget workshop, and there's a lot of effort to go through the budget, to find opportunities for improvement, opportunities for savings. And I will also say again that I said this at each budget hearing and to you, Mr. Administrator, and the department heads. There's a lot of efforts that come in front of us. Past a long time ago, budgets would come and the council would have to spend hours and hours to put things back in that were taken out, critical things. That's no longer the case. Council and the administrator have a great working relationship. There's always room for improvement, and there's a lot of discussion that goes along with it. But the budget came in great form, and to our treasurer too, that did a tremendous amount of work on it, Carl Carulli. All of that goes aside, this council and the administrator don't look forward to raising taxes, but we do it with the mindset that we do it as little as possible for the services that you expect and deserve. Anything else from the council? Hearing nothing, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is the consent agenda.
Motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item is the submission of minutes, and these are for the town council meeting minutes of February 26, 2025, as well as the capital projects meeting of March 5th, 2025.
Motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is D1. This is Isabel Oteri on behalf of the Banda Santa Isabel. This is a request for a one-day dancing and entertainment license for dinner and dancing to be held on April 12th from the hours of 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. at 577 Wood Street.
Based on the positive recommendations, I make a motion that we approve it.
Second?
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item is D2. This is Carmen Ananya on behalf of Our Lady of Mount Carmel. And this is a request for a one-day dancing and entertainment license for a dinner and dance fundraiser to be held on May 31st from the hours of 6 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. on 127 State Street.
Based on the positive recommendations, I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is D3. This is Renee Soto on behalf of the Bristol Book Fest. This is a request for a one-day dancing and entertainment license for April 4th, 2025, from the hours of 6 to 7:30 p.m. at Rogers Free Library.
Based on the recommendations, I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is D4. This is Jonathan Ferreira. This is a request for a one-day dancing and entertainment license for Smoke on the Water fundraiser at 65 Ferry Road to be held on June 21st from 1 p.m. to 8:30 p.m.
Based on the recommendations, make a motion to approve?
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is D5. This is Joseph Karen on behalf of the Bristol Merchant Association. This is request for one-day dancing and entertainment license per the 2025 event schedule that's attached from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. And this is also a request to use and close the lower State Street per the 2025 event schedule.
It's based on the recommendations. I make a motion. Do we approve it?
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary to approve. Is there any discussion? There is for me. If it feels like we're flying through these, it's because we had an opportunity, obviously, to review all of this before the meeting. So if we had concerns, we would express them. If not, we've all looked through the agenda and we're ready to take action on it. Any other discussion?
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, could you just say that we get, in addition to the request, there's recommendations from the police chief, the fire chief, DPW, if director, if so need be, the administrator. So all of that and all their responses are all in the packet that we look at.
The Director of Community
Oh,
Development
right,
as
yeah,
well.
the different department heads depending on, different activities.
Joe Karen is here. I think he might want to have a 30-second.
You want a 30-second commercial?
Yes.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely.
This is basically about the State Street Fairs, which we do every year. We've been doing for a long time. There's one on April 26th, one on June 14th, which won't be on State Street. It will be in Independence Park. One on August 23rd and another one on the 27th of September. We've already spoken to the Parks and Recreation Department about getting permission to use Independence Park, and that's working well. For June 14th, we're in touch with the police department. We'd like to thank them for all their help all the time, providing an officer for when we close the street down and all the amount of time they spend there. Poor person. I feel bad for him. But anyway, also we're considering some weekend events, maybe in August for Independence Park for our local restaurants to put out there some specialties but that's in the future and someone else is handling that. I just wanted to put it out there. And this year, there will be no snowflake raffle. We're not doing that this year. I think we're gonna try to work a bit with the Christmas Festival Committee and try and work with them to get people into town. And the Snowflake Festival is gonna be something we formerly did, but no longer do. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Joe,
Thank you.
All right.
before you leave, Joe, I got the most important question up here. Is the Easter Bunny going to be here on April 26th?
I can neither
The Easter
confirm.
Bunny is always there.
Yes, that's a good response. Thank you for that information.
Thank you.
Any other discussion from the council? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Good luck.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is E1. This is the tattoo license renewals for 2025, 2026.
Can we bring up, please?
I have
Please?
to,
Thank you.
where's Halsey? You
Yes.
know?
If you don't know, Halsey was vehemently against tattoos, tattoo parlors, conversation about tattoos, the color green, everything about them whatsoever. So as these would come up, he would vote against it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Oh,
no,
wait a minute.
very, very true. Yeah.
Yes.
So we say hello to Halsey, and is there a
Yeah.
motion to approve, please?
Yes. Based on the recommendations, I make a motion that we approve it.
I'll second the motion.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Any discussion?
Yes, after all, they are two of our local businesses, you know,
There you go.
right on Gooding Avenue. So, and certainly they provide a service that many people wish to do. Not me, but many others. It can be a little painful, so I hear.
That's, I've been told that, yes. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is E2. This is the cesspool license renewals for 2025, 2026.
Halsey had absolutely no issue with this, so we can move forward.
Based on the recommendations, I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is Charles Eli Dunn from Folklore LLC, doing business as Folklore Provisions, 301 Hope Street. And this is in regards to a 6-month review for the BV limited license. I do want to let you know we're a little bit past the 6-month review. We didn't have a chance to put it on the last agenda, so it's a little bit past. So when it comes up, just letting you.
Chief,
Send out plan.
thank you. Chief, for the public, no issues?
No issues, Mr. Chairman.
Nice to hear. Not that we expected anything different, but nice to hear. So,
So we move forward to approve a full at this point? Am I
That's on,
correct?
that's the next agenda item.
That's okay.
So this
So-
is just for the review.
Mm-hmm.
so is it a receive and file
Receive
of no
file.
change?
It's to
Or
grant the
continue with
renewal
that?
based on the
Yeah.
license recommendations.
To approve continuation
Mhm.
of the license?
Correct.
How's that?
So
Second.
Motion made by Mary, seconded by Tony, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is F1. This is Charles Eli Dunn Folklore LLC, doing business as Folklore Provisions, 301 Hope Street. And this is a request for one additional Class BV liquor license, and this is to increase the number of liquor licenses from 32 to 33.
Is Eli
And
here?
to modify and expand the alcohol service area.
Menu looks great.
Okay.
Nice to see you again.
Hey.
Good to see you guys too.
So we understand that there were no issues there in that 6 month plus review.
No, I mean, we really didn't. Turns out, being a daytime cafe in Bristol, we don't sell a lot of alcohol anyway, so. But it was really beneficial to sell beer and wine for our supper club, which we now do monthly, where we open up as a dinner restaurant and sell limited seats. And that's become, we did a wine dinner, and so that's really where we've sold most of our beer and wine and hope to do cocktails as well in the future. But there's a lot going on, so now we're taking over Kate and Company. Which unfortunately went out of business, so
It's too
we're,
bad.
I don't think she went out of business, I think she just was done. And so we're
Different,
taking
yeah.
over that location and adding some additional seating. And maybe down the lines, maybe some regular dinner service as well. So having the full liquor license would really help us just to have a, limited cocktail menu. We're not gonna do shots or a bar or anything like that, but just some cocktails to sell to our clientele, so.
Fantastic.
So
Anybody?
based on that, I make a motion that we approve it. Well, although we have to increase, right?
So we would need to refer to the
Solicitor to
to
draft.
To draft
create
the
an
ordinance and call for public hearing on May 7th.
Thank you.
See,
That was my motion.
I heard that, Tony. Nice
Excellent,
job.
Tony.
Is there a
I'll second
second?
your motion.
Excellent.
Perfect.
So motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, that we will take the next step, which is creating or amending the ordinance and having a public hearing. Again, Madam Clerk, on what date, please?
May 7th.
May 7th. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Good luck.
Best of luck.
Thanks.
The next item on the agenda is F2, and this is Maria Andre, 28 Shaw's Lane. This is requesting removal of the accessible parking space located across from the residence, also to replace with a no parking box to assist with exiting driveway.
I'm,
Please.
I make a motion that we approve it based on the recommendations from the police department.
second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary. What other action do we need to take on that one,
Motion
please?
will also be to refer to the solicitor to draft the ordinance for the no parking box. So this would be first reading for the ADA accessible and the ordinance for the next meeting. for
I'm shaking my
consideration.
heard because it's exactly what I heard Tony
I
say.
Tony,
Tony, yeah.
Wow.
I thought I
That's
would,
exactly what
didn't
I
you see my
seconded
lips
too, yeah.
moving?
Yeah.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Tony, perfect.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And that was seconded by Mary. Is there any discussion?
I was just gonna say, we don't get a whole lot of these where we actually get them where
Exactly.
they approve
Yes.
some of the requests.
That's right.
So
Very
when
true,
when we
right?
do get them, it's like, hey, we should probably do this, yeah.
Right, no, but
You're right, Aaron.
it's very applicable. I mean, it was there in the location, they need the extra space, to maneuver and be able to get in and get out of the driveway, so.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, thank you. We will take the next step on that.
The next item on the agenda is F3. This is Jason Paganelli from True North Running Company, and this is for a Coast State Park Half Marathon on November 2nd, 2025, from 8:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. And this is for use of because the portion of the race is on public roadway.
Is Jason
Jason.
here? Jason, if you could say your name and address for the record.
Sure, Jason Paganelli, 23 South Grove Avenue in Warren,
Where?
Warren, Rhode Island.
Oh.
So far away here in the East Bay.
So tell us what you're doing, please.
So again, Jay Paganelli from True North Running, a proud East Bay resident and just passionate runner. We've been lucky enough to put on many races here in Bristol in the past 10 years. One of them being the Colt State Park Half Marathon, which mostly is in Colt State Park. We use about 3/4 of a mile of public roadway, which is just Papa Squash Road from the bike path back to the rear entrance of Colt State Park every year. This year's event is November 2nd.
Excellent.
It's great.
Council?
How many runners are you typically getting?
We close it out every single year at 500 in
500.
partnership with
Wow.
DEM. We've just realized that that is the number that we feel comfortable at, and anymore, we feel like we really want to be able to deliver the promise to the runners.
Sure.
It's also a very well-respected event, so thank you to the town of Bristol for letting us do it. But this year, again, we just found out yesterday, it's the state championship for the half marathon distance. So we like to make it more of a premier event and not just flood the roadway, quite frankly, with runners.
Outstanding.
Based on the recommendations, I make a motion that we approve it.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Good luck.
Good luck.
Thank you,
Yeah.
everyone.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, could I just ask that he coordinate with the police department on road closures and dates and times?
Jason. The chief just asked, Chief, could you repeat that?
Coordinate with the police department on the dates and times of the race and road closures.
Yes, we will. And we usually have 2 police officers involved, so we'll reach out in the weeks before the event.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is F4. This is Karen Cox with the North American Family Institute, and this is in regards to Run for the Kids 5K race beginning and ending at Vigilant Brewery on Sunday, September 7th, starting at 9 a.m.
Based on the recommendations.
Hi, good
Oh,
evening. Unlike that race, we're lucky. We were excited about 92 people last year running in our race, so very small. Yes, so NAFI is a semi-independent living program for young men ages 16 to 21. We've been a part of the Bristol Warren community for 36 years.
Wow.
And this fundraiser allows us to tap into our arts initiative funds for our kids to be able to try new things and be out in the community and build connections. And before they age out of DCYF, maybe they'll learn something and run with it, you know?
Yeah.
So.
And
that's
this
it.
is September 7th?
Yes.
I had a note, our copy, there's no issue with the map, but just I couldn't read it very well. Were we able to get a better copy of that? Do you know? The copy that we had was
Yeah.
probably double
So it
copied.
basically just
so-
comes out of Vigilant and it goes up the road, before. I don't remember that road.
It goes. I think it's just. one.
Broad Common, thank you. And then it comes out on Hope.
Yeah.
I mean,
Gooding.
Gooding
and then
Avenue.
down on Hope and then back in.
Would you, I absolutely, I don't have any problem with this at
Yeah.
all, so, and certainly support it. But if you could just give us a better copy of that map.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely. We can
Council-
send that.
And
drop that
how do you do you register? Do you show up for during the day of the run, or
Yeah, we
how are you
yep,
doing that?
We advertise, I mean, it's on social media.
Social media, you can
Yeah,
register. out
social
there?
media. We try to
Okay.
put it on like the local sites, but you can also just Google the Run for the Kids race right in the, yeah. No, what's that? Run sign up. It's like a common
Yeah.
race. So we're right in there.
So that's how they
Yeah.
sign up.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Council? Need a
Based,
motion?
based on the recommendations, make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, Chief. Did you want to add to that one too?
Same as the other road race, please coordinate with the police department on road closures and
Yes.
Dates and times.
Yep.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Outstanding. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
And good luck.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is appointments. We have the Harbor Commission. This is for one unexpired 3-year term set to expire March 2027. We have Dominic Franco with his letter of resignation. We have Pamela Romano with interest in appointment. We have Michael Cabral, also with interest in appointment. Bruce Palumbo with interest in appointment, and Owen O'Rourke, also with interest in appointment.
I know we've all interviewed all these candidates
Yes.
on this one. So I'll go ahead and make a motion there if my colleagues are okay with that. Dominic Franco, we'll send him a letter of thanks. I know we just recognized him, and I would like to make a motion to elevate Pam E. Romano to the full-time Harbor Commission, opening up a spot on the advisory commission, Harbor Commission.
Oh, second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Aaron to appoint Pamela Romano to the Harbor Commission open seat. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is G2. This is the Harbor Commission Advisory Committee. This is 3 unexpired 3-year terms set to expire, 2 on August 2025 and 1 in August 2026. We have George Berman with a letter of resignation. We have Raymond DeLeo with interest in appointment. Paul Lapont also with interest in appointment. Michael Cabral with interest in appointment. And Jeff Doran also with interest in appointment.
I have a question. Well,
Certainly.
first of all, we accept your letter of resignation and send a letter of thank you for his service. Then I have a question in terms of if someone, like in the case of Paul, he's currently a part-time harbor master, can he serve on the committee? I have a question in regards to that. Can he do both?
I would have to review the charter. I don't know that off the top of my head. I'm sorry.
Oh, no,
I-
anybody
I
that,
don't know that.
right.
I'm not sure.
does Mike have an answer? No, no, not necessarily.
Um,
I'm just very curious about that.
So we do have the composition of the advisory board is listed in the agenda, and it says at least one member of the advisory committee shall be a user of the Kickamuke River. At least one member of the advisory shall be a user of the downtown waterfront, and at least one member of the advisory committee shall be a user of the Papassquash Shore. If there are more than 3 members on the advisory committee, the additional members may be users of any geographical area, provided that at all times, at least one member of the advisory committee shall represent each one of the aforementioned geographical areas. It doesn't necessarily say that there's a restriction, but that's something we can look into.
I think we should look into it. We'll get
Mhm.
confirmation on that.
Can we hold that one or continue this?
Yeah, what we can,
I think
we're
we
actually
do
just
that.
as
Set
you've
up
already
interviews.
expressed, we're gonna send a letter of thanks to George Berman. We can set up interviews. That's
Yep.
exactly right. And in that process, we can confirm if there's a concern there.
You need a motion, Chairman, to set up interviews or
Yes, please.
a motion to move forward to set up interviews for, it would be what, the April 16th meeting? 6:30? Or 6 o'clock?
You don't have anything prior to that meeting, so if you just do decide that you want to do that, but if there's 1, 2, 3, 4, depends on how much time you want to give them.
So it's a great question. And we have upcoming April 28th meeting, which is the adoption. I'm sorry, let me look at on April 28th. Why don't I have it here? Madam Clerk, remind me.
It is on April 28th. It's
I am
Monday,
correct.
April 28th at 7
Okay.
PM is the adoption of the final budget.
So we have the adoption of the final budget on April 28th. That's typically a very quick meeting. We
Okay.
could set up interviews on that day for these open positions. And
Okay.
later in the agenda, bless you, there are other interviews that we need to complete, including library. So we could do all of those if the council is amenable to it, since that meeting would be short and we're already scheduled to be here. Is
So-
everybody okay with that?
Chairman, it sounds like an efficient way to run it. Yeah,
Perfect.
so April 28th.
All right.
Just amending my motion there from,
Second.
So motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is G3. This is the Assistant Harbor Master. This is for an unexpired 1-year terms set to expire January 2026. And we have recommendation from the Harbor Master to appoint John Quinn and Robert Ramus.
Based on the recommendations from the harbor master, I make a motion that we approve it.
Second?
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to approve. Discussion? Greg, this stays inside your budget, is that correct?
Good evening. Yes, it does.
Great answer.
With the marina expansion, it's the more employees we can get, the better. No one has set hours,
Okay,
so
all right. Thank you.
you're welcome.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is G4, and this is the Bristol Planning Board. This is for, I'm sorry, it does say 1 2-year term, but it's actually for 2 3-year terms set to expire April 2028. And we have Richard Ruggiero with interest in reappointment, and Stephen Katz also with interest in reappointment.
So does that change the years due, the 2028 and 2027? No.
Yes, so
They-
it would be for 2 3-year terms set to expire April 2028.
Okay. So I make a motion that we reappoint both candidates, Richard and Steve.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary, that we reappoint both Richard Ruggiero and Stephen Katz. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is G5. This is the zoning board of review, and this is for 1 5-year term set to expire March 2030 and 2 2-year alternate position set to expire March 2027. We have George Duart, who's a full member with interest in reappointment, and we have Kimberly Teebs, who is the first alternate, also with interest in reappointment.
Make a motion to reappoint both of them, George and Kim.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is G6. This is the Waipoisett Trust. This is 1 2-year term set to expire March 2027. And we have Stephen Johnson with interest in reappointment.
I make a motion that we reappoint Steve.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary, to reappoint Stephen Johnson. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is G7. This is the Police Pension Funds Board of Trustee, and this is for 1 3-year term set to expire April 2028. And we have Kevin Manuel with interest in reappointment.
Motion to reappoint.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, as stated. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is Rogers Free Library Board of Trustee. This is for 2 unexpired 3-year terms set to expire January 2027 and January 2028. We have Elizabeth Hamilton with interest in appointment, David Perry with interest in appointment, Caitlin Carmody with interest in appointment, Christina Palmer with interest in appointment, Jeanette Harney with interest in appointment, Lane Talbot Sparkman. I was notified that she was no longer interested in seeking position with the Rogers Free Library. The same with Matthew Benson, so we can strike those 2. H was Nancy Kellner with interest in appointment, Thomas Ferris II, also with interest in appointment, Christopher Allen with interest in appointment, and then you have the recommendation from the Chair of the Board of Trustees, Annie Sylvia, with the recommendation for Nancy Kellner, Thomas Ferris, and Christopher Allen. And the council will also note, my apologies, there is a received at meeting on the council dais, and those are the additional resumes from the other interviewees that were not part of the recommendation.
Excellent. Thank you. So council, we just need a motion to set up interviews, and we can do that on that already talked about date of 4/28.
Make a motion to set up interviews for the April 28th meeting.
So I'll take that motion from Mary, seconded
Oh,
by Tim.
sorry.
It's okay.
Yep.
It's okay. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is G9. This is the 4th of July committee, and this is the proposed membership for 2-year terms set to expire September 2025.
I make a motion to approve based on the recommendation of the chair.
Second.
Motion made by Tony, seconded by Mary to approve. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? So this is the part that I'm going to take a moment. Look at all these people that we just went through. All these names of reappointments, of interest in being appointed, which is a wonderful thing to take a moment and say, the absolute willingness to volunteer back to the community is what makes this community wonderful. We recognize Dom at 44 years of giving back to the community and Jim at 22 years. And what's wonderful about that is that they're not by themselves. There's so many people that do it year after year. I used to work with a family that would say all the time, pick up trash when you know nobody can see you do it. And that is wonderful advice because you volunteer and you give back to make yourself feel better. And by that, you make your community better. And it's just outstanding. So this council says thank you.
Thank you.
The Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is I1. This is Jay Marcial on behalf of the Bristol Conservation Commission, and this is for the Keep Bristol Clean, and this is in regards to an invitation to the 36th Annual Townwide Cleanup to be held on April 19th, 2025. And he's here, so I'm going to let him explain the rest.
Councilman Lay said, what a great segue. Wow. Floor is yours, sir.
Before I begin, I'd like to recognize Craig Fisher, who's also on the Conservation Commission here in support of this initiative. I'm announcing the 36th Annual Keep Bristol Clean Townwide Community Cleanup. And it's happening on Saturday, April 19th from 9 to noon. And it starts off at DPW on Mount Hope Avenue. And there we'll have refreshments, we'll have supplies, we'll have gloves and litter grabbers and bags. And then people will set out to different spots around town to pick up litter. They are the litter patrols. And if anybody has their specific area that they want to clean up, then they can by all means do that, or we'll have assignments there on that day.
So Jay, if the public shows up and they don't call you before, they show up and say, I want to help,
Just show up.
then they get a donut, some coffee, pair of gloves.
Yep.
Take the
exactly.
gloves off while you
Litter
eat the
grabbers.
coffee and the donut and all that. Okay,
Yes,
outstanding.
And if,
Okay.
and if they can't do the full 3 hours,
Oh,
can
no,
they do an hour? Is that
Yeah.
just,
If
Do you
they-
I know
charge them if
everybody's
they can't
busy,
do the
but-
total 3 hours? Is
All
that
right.
what happens on it?
If they're finished, then by all means, they're done for the day.
great.
But a lot of the places that we have, we're kind of lucky where we don't have tons of litter. You know, there are some areas that need more attention than others, so if they're assigned to those areas, when they're done, they're done.
Sure.
We're very lucky in Bristol where we have this effort, but there's not a whole lot of litter in different
great.
places, so.
Jay, thanks for spearheading this effort. I see you all over the place in your role as Conservation Commission. One time I saw him at the University of Rhode Island for a lecture over there. So he's doing great work, and we really appreciate too this time that this is not held on opening day of King Philip Little League Baseball.
No.
So this is
That's
we're
true.
all happy to be able to participate in this.
That's right. The last couple of years, it's been that way. Well, thank you for doing what you do.
Yep.
Council?
No, do we need to make a motion to approve it or just receive in
Receive
file?
file, yeah.
Receive in file. So move.
Second?
We had a motion made by Tony, seconded by Tim to receive and file in an acceptable container. Any discussion? Hearing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman, members of the council, the next item on the agenda is I2, and this is the resolution for the Bristol 4th of July celebration 2025.
Good evening.
Good evening, everyone. How are you?
Excellent. How are you?
Doing well,
How are
thank
you?
you. So we have all of our calendar of events probably in front of you. And our first one is the Chief Marshal announcement, which is going to be on April 8th. And then after that will be my breakfast that I hope to see all of you at. So the date is up in the air. It's either going to be May 4th or June 8th. And then Flag Day will be June 14th. So
And the pancakes will be there for the breakfast.
yeah, oh yeah, pancakes, and I may
Tony's gonna
I may
make
recruit
those?
somebody to make scrambled eggs.
I'll be there to work on her breakfast.
Yes.
I thought it was the 4th of July, 4th of July's breakfast, but yes.
So breakfast
Yes,
and
and all kinds of fun stuff that we have going on.
Flag Day
Yes,
ceremony,
Flag
June
Day ceremony.
14th.
Yes,
I've got it right in front of me. If you like pickleball, it's on June 14th. Orange Crate Derby is June 5th. Wow, there's a lot of stuff.
a lot of
isn't it?
stuff.
Yeah,
We have a lot of good things going on.
forget how much we do.
Some is fundraising, and then some is free to the wonderful community that we live in. So,
Everybody hear that reoccurring theme? Is that wonderful community that we live in? And it's
Yes.
because of the people that give back to the community, like all of you on the 4th of July committee. So thank you for that. We need a motion,
I make a motion that we approve the
resolution.
resolution.
And submit to the
Second.
administration to distribute to all the department heads.
See, that's what I heard Tony say again. It's really strange.
Wow.
Is there a second?
Second?
Motion made by Tony, kind of. Seconded by Tim. Is there any discussion?
Just Camille, if
Yes.
people want to get a list of all these events, just go out to the 4th of July website,
Website,
right?
yes.
And go to events
Once
and
we get the dates
everything's
more gelled, we will definitely have those all on the website. And
awesome.
we'll have them, definitely. So,
Awesome. All
okay.
right.
Any other questions?
No?
No?
And you also will have calendars, correct?
Yes,
I mean,
for
distribution.
Flag Tag Day, we will have calendars. We are working on those currently, so
Huh.
we'll have those of all of the calendar of events going on in town. And we'll be handing those out at Stop and Shop, Clements, and the post office. I can keep soliciting for us if you'd like.
Wonderful. Wonderful. Any other discussion?
Yeah.
Thanks, Camille.
Hearing none, all in favor?
Thank you.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you for what you
Thank
do.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
You shared so much tonight. Thank you, Chuck.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is Community Development Director Williamson, and this is in regards to composting pilot program opportunity for programs funding through the 11th hour racing.
Hello, Diane.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
So you have a memo from me in your packet. If you recall, last year, we applied for a USDA grant to do a 2-year pilot program for composting food waste, and we did not get the grant. 11th Hour Racing was partnering with us to help promote that. They have stepped up. They're working with 2 other communities as well that are going to be funded by 11th Hour Racing in lieu of the USDA grant. So they would sponsor the program for 2 years in the amount of approximately $190,000. The town's match had been $10,969 and some in-kind match for staff time. I'm proposing this to the council to see if you are in support of going forward with this new grant opportunity through the 11th Hour Racing organization and providing the same amount of grant match that you had provided with the other grant. This is something that would be, again, a 2-year pilot program. We would get data from this program to hopefully support, including this in future programming, budget programmings with the town. But again, this would just be for the 2 years to build some data, get some good metrics and see if it can go forward. The goal is to be net neutral. The goal is to hopefully divert waste from the Johnston landfill that you pay a tipping fee on. There's, trucks and staff that have to go there to deliver those truckloads of garbage. So the goal is to have this be a net neutral project that wouldn't cost you additional funding. But I do want to make, just before I turn it over to you, Mr. Chris Perella is here, Director Perella from the DPW, if you have any questions of him. And Sarah Turgan is here from Eastern Rhode Island Conservation District. She's here as support for this project. She's been encouraging us to move forward with this.
So this would still be a pilot program for 2 years, and pending on the data that we receive from this, we may or may not continue. Am I correct in that?
Correct.
But obviously, the commitment is the same as if we had gone with the grant.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I have a question though, because there's a statement there that will they pay for the hauler truck during this pilot program? Because there's some statement there that says, okay, on the last paragraph, town would have to do an RFP to hire a full-service private compost hauler for this program. This is not applicable to this. It's only if we go forward. Am I correct?
No, it is applicable to this. And I included that statement because I think you've had some conversations or presentations from Black Earth. And I didn't want you to believe that it was going to be, given to them without doing a public procurement. We're going to have to do an RFP to go forward. And so it would be whoever would be qualified to bid and win the award. But the funding from 11th Hour would be to fund a hauler for the 2-year program.
Okay.
Yeah.
That clarifies it. Thank you.
So-
Because I was on the impression, were we, in addition to the 10,000 not match, but the contribution, were we responsible for the hauler? But obviously not. That would be part of the 11th hour.
Correct. Our only obligation would be to go out to bid for the vendor and then
An
select.
approximately $11,000 grant match,
Correct.
correct?
And that's over the 2 years. So it's not 10,000 each year, it's over the 2 years.
Tony, what I love about this pilot is that it doesn't put any drain on our DPW that's already kind of got a full plate as it is. So the nice thing is we would go out to RFP, a vendor, whatever that vendor may be, would come and they would pick up our composting for our residents. I think what I love about this program is that it is an investment that we always talk about is saving residents taxpayer money. And we can do that right now, right here, where we're taking the weight out of our garbage, which lowers our tipping fees, which translates into savings for taxes. Composting, for me, is an investment into a cleaner streets, healthier soils, and it also makes Bristol sustainable. So I really just think it's a really good way to step forward. And we all know that the state of Rhode Island, the landfill, will close eventually. So we need to make sure that we're taking the steps forward to save as much money as we can and preparing for that closure of that landfill. And composting in this pilot, I think, is a nice way to start to move forward. So with that, Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to support the program with the $10,969 pilot for 2 years with 11th hour.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony, as stated. Discussion?
Yep, just Mr. Chairman, I just want to say that what a generous offering from 11th Hour Racing to come in and step in where there was a gap, where we thought we almost had something there, and they were able to fill in there. But I also got to say, Tim, your leadership on here has been great, and Diane and everybody else, thank you for all your help on this. But it seems like whenever we run into some sort of roadblock, Tim, that you've always found some way to keep us chugging along on this. And I see these black earth compost things all around when I'm driving around the state. I see a lot of them in Middletown and in Newport, and I hope I'm one of the first ones that can sign up and get one of those for Mason Farm. So,
well, thank you, Councilman Lay, but I think it's a team effort. You've always been staunch supporter of composting environmental issues, and the rest of my colleagues sitting here as well. I mean, you guys have always been big supporters of not only saving the tax dollars for the residents, but also supporting environmental issues. So I think it's greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Any other discussion from the council? No?
No.
I had a question, Diane. How many people, if you covered this, I apologize.
I'm so glad you asked because I was thinking I should have told you. So the goal is to get 500 households for the 2-year commitment, for the 2-year program. And I was just looking back at the original grant that we wrote, and the savings, we're looking to divert 260,000 pounds of food waste from the tonnage of food the tonnage of waste that Bristol collects. So we're looking at 500 new households being able to participate in this program.
Fantastic.
So 500 and it's 260,000 pounds over the 2 years. Is that
Yes,
correct?
Yes,
Okay.
that's the goal.
It's a massive diversion, out of our landfill.
It's a lot
So,
of-
yeah.
A lot of compost.
You got it. You got it.
I'll take 260,000 pounds, please. You sure, sir? Where do I put it? Anything else from the council? No? All right. Hearing nothing else, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is I-4, and this is Council Chairman Canluro, and this is in regards to a draft resolution regarding the restoration of the general revenue sharing to cities and towns.
So the president, actually, of the Portsmouth Town Council had reached out to me going back a little bit to talk about this. This is probably back in January. And what this is simply is that the car tax, as we all know, was done away with. But when that legislation and that process was put in place, there was no escalator. So when the the car tax went away, it stayed at that dollar figure for each of the communities. So we did not see that increase as we would with the car tax. So this is a proposal, say, resolution that would ask our legislators to to do revenue sharing, I guess, simply put. I asked for what that would affect Bristol. Now, just on a side note, every community wins by this moving forward. So no one says, well, if Bristol wins, I don't get it. No, everybody gets it. If this were to pass, Bristol would see an increase of $787,255. So it's huge money.
Huge money.
And of course, every dollar that we get is a dollar that we don't have to fund the budget from, right? We get it from other revenue sources. So
So
that's what
Chairman,
this
you're
is.
saying this
So
could offset local property taxes or any sort of services that we provide,
It's exactly
right?
right.
As these under, so
That's
I
exactly
think it's
right.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Yep.
So if the council agrees, I'm looking for support on this resolution that we can move it forward to our legislators.
Motion to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
And thank you for taking the initiative.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Chairman.
The next item on the agenda is I-5. This is Council Chairman Calero, and this is in regards to a draft resolution in support of the Rhode Island League of Cities and Towns legislative priorities.
So you all had an opportunity to look at this. The League of Cities and Towns is actually our administrator is part of that. And Tony, you're also part of that, correct? You are a member?
I'm a member.
You're a member.
Yes.
So, and this is a resolution. We don't typically do resolutions, and having two in a row is a little off from what we usually do. Why I thought, and I think why we all may think it's worthy, is that the initiatives that they're proposing are ones that we can get behind without being specific to each and every bill. Talking about adopting policies, avoiding one-size-fits-all solutions. I think that one speaks directly to housing, I would say. But it's to support the League of Cities and Towns initiatives and to share with our legislators that these are things that are important to us if this council concurs.
I make a, oops.
Before you do, one thing I should put for the record is that there was discussion in regards to their initiatives as a proposal to support increasing the cap from 4%. That is not in this resolution, and I want to just go on record as saying I don't support that. So if just in case these things move forward, I think it's important to have that on the record that that's not something I support. I don't think it's something anybody supports here. We don't want to see that cap increase.
Yeah.
So,
That's good.
okay.
Yeah.
So please.
I agree that, increasing the cap is not wise. There's a reason as to why that was instituted back when, and certainly it keeps a check in the municipalities and the overspending.
So just need a motion to support it if everybody does.
Motion to adopt the resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Discussion?
I noticed that it says Portsmouth Town Council on there, so I think we just need to.
We can sign for
change that
them.
A little bit.
Yeah, we can sign for them.
It's the, it's one of the last, sentences right above the signatures.
Maybe we can have them defer some of their funds our way too. Can we sign that too?
There you go.
So there was a motion and a second with that adjustment made. It was right at
Fix
the
the
end there.
resolution.
Good catch.
Thank you.
Yeah. Nice catch, Aaron.
Kind of fun to sign for them. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Thanks, everybody.
Of the council, the next item on the agenda is I-6, and this is also Council Chairman Calero, and this is in regards to consideration of allocations of council contingency funds to help support Tom's Grove for a nonprofit organization.
So as part of our budget discussions, we have human services that we support in a multitude of organizations, including this one. And we had some dialogue about it, and I'm going to give the floor over to Councilman Lay because this was his request on it. But we had discussion about how to do some additional funding on this one because this will be the last request on it. Councilman Lay.
Well, I thought that this was a special one. Did you want to come up and share a little bit about the work that you're doing?
Didn't know she was here. We have very uncomfortable chairs. I apologize.
My name is Linda Hero and I live at Benjamin Church Manor. And I'm the executive director of Friends of Tom's Grove, which is a community organization that started in 2022. We decided to make a project where the seniors, which back then it was mostly seniors, to get some exercise, socialize. So we started an organic garden, and it was a 5-point project: an organic garden, a shed, some flower beds, a pergola or a gazebo, and a patio where they can socialize. Well, we've accomplished the garden. It's all made out of cedar. It's all organic with, we started with 12 gardens, now we have 26. And we just had to add some boxes. But anyway, we get together once a month and have a meeting, and we strictly operate with grants. The only thing we charge money for are the plants that the people plant. And we're slated to finish the project by December of 2025. So that's why I submitted a grant to help us finish getting the shed and the patio, and the gardener will help us build the flower beds. And as far as the money goes, that's what we intend to finish. I've been very fortunate to get a grant occasionally from the college and from the town, and I came tonight to support it. And I wanted to thank you very much for what you've done to help us in the past. And we're looking forward to 2026 with working with other people in Bristol to help save Silver Creek. We brought this to the attention of DEM 2 years ago, and we tabled it for a while. So we finished this project, and now we're going to work on something a little bit more extensive, but I'm going to be working with DEM. And the board of directors has finally approved the opportunity because the creek is getting ruined. So that's our next project. But it's been fun, and we're proud of it. And we're having an open house in May, and we'd love for all of you to come because you supported it, and we appreciate that.
Well, Linda, I gotta say, this is a great example of people coming together in the aftermath of the pandemic, right? To build something together that's gonna support generations to come. And so thank you for doing that. I just want to read quickly just a quote. I did some research about the work that you've been doing. East Bay newspapers has covered some of this work, and you had a great quote that I thought was something that any other organization could have taken with them today. And I do want to point out too, Mr. Chairman, that you pointed out all these harbors or all these commissions and boards where people were getting together and giving back to their communities. And we have basketball teams that are coming together and collectively winning championships. And we have folks who are living at Bristol Housing Authority who are coming together to build gardens and things like that so that people can get outside and to be with one another.
Mm-hmm.
And what Linda said here in this 2023 article was, so many people say it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village to make a garden too. And so I think you should be very proud of the work that you've been doing here, Linda, because this is going to have a long lasting legacy. So
Beautiful.
So this council saw some pictures of what you did there, or at least the current work that's done. And I know there's more coming, and it was really nice.
I will definitely let you.
And we'll see you in May.
We've been working with
Am I missing
college students from the college to come to help us build the.
You're gonna make a motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the money.
Yeah.
Okay, because he didn't mention money.
I was getting there.
Mary asked the question, did
you wanna
we
make it,
give her
Mary?
money
No, you
yet?
can go ahead and do it. I just was like, sounded like you were done, and I was like, I thought this was about money. Okay.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to, how would we say it? Use
Use
$2,000 of council contingency fund to Friends of Tom's Grove.
And that way there you can get started on that, on the project.
Second.
You can at least get started on the project now, and then in July, the other $1,000 will be available.
All right, so we had a
Thank you. Yeah.
we had a motion and a second. Any other discussion?
Thank you, Councilman Lay, for boiling this to the
Yes.
top and getting this project done. And I'm glad I'm looking forward to coming in May. Did you say? Good. We'll be there.
Saturday after Mother's Day
Awesome. Awesome.
at 10 o'clock.
Looking forward to it.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, good luck.
Thank you.
So I'm going to say that out loud, Chief. The chief just asked for cucumbers.
Cute.
Chief, will you be sharing? Okay, outstanding. I have nothing to add, sir. Madam Clerk.
You gotta share the recipe though.
Mr. Chairman and members of the council, the next item on the agenda is I-7. This is Town Clerk Cadero, and this is in regards to the proposed amendments to residential parking zone. So if the council recalls back in November of 2024, the council made some changes to the residential parking district. And there was a piece of Hope Street north from Franklin Street to Washington Street that was inadvertently omitted from that residential change, as well as there's also an issue from south from Franklin Street to Wally Street, which also falls within the residential district. There's no clear wording within the ordinance that allows me to give those residents who live along those strip to get residential stickers so that way they can park on the finger streets near their home. And so I've been working with the solicitor's office to try to draft some language. So I'm asking that the council refer the matter to any department head they feel appropriate and the solicitors, so that way we can draft an ordinance to amend that for council consideration at the next meeting.
So moved.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Discussion?
Just a question. So this would be part of the no overnight parking unless you have a resident sticker. Am I correct in that?
Correct. So the portion from Franklin to Washington, there's no postings there and it's not listed in the ordinance. And then the portion from Franklin north to Wally Street, they have different restrictions throughout that strip. Some of them are the majority of it is 2-hour parking from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., which allows people to park overnight. However, they do have to leave by 8 a.m. So there's generally not an issue there for parking, but there's probably about 6 different ordinances that run through that length of Hope Street. So this is just to kind of clarify some of that wording and make sure that we capture those people within that residential district to make sure that they get those stickers.
Okay, I think I seconded that already. didn't I?
Yeah.
you did. Yep. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
And the last item on the agenda is K1. This is the Bristol County Water Authority Tri-Town Monthly Report from February 2025.
Motion to receive and file.
Second.
Motion made by Tim, seconded by Tony. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. We do not have executive session this evening. I just need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Did you hear the disgust?
Maybe we don't want to adjourn. I don't know.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you.